A letter to old friends. You know how some stories need telling, not for glory or sympathy, but because they might help somebody else get through their own dark season? This is one of those. It happened in Kenya, where I'd gone to hide after losing my boy Danny in Afghanistan. I was 68, drinking my coffee black at 10 in the morning and whiskey neat by 3. Some of you might remember me from Montana, Tom Brennan, the veterinarian who used to work on your horses and cattle. This story isn't really about the lioness with a tumor bigger than a watermelon who showed up at my door. It's about what happens when God puts something broken in your path and asks if you've got enough left in the tank to try one more time. It's about my daughter, Sarah, 7 months pregnant, who drove through the African bush to confront her stubborn father. And it's about learning that sometimes the only way forward is to help something else that's hurting worse than you are. The barn smelled like blood and iodine, same as it did 40 years ago in Montana when I'd work on somebody's prize bull or birthing mare. Except this time, it was a lioness on my makeshift operating table. Just planks across sawhorses, nothing fancy. Sarah stood across from me, her pregnant belly pressed against the table edge, hands steady as she held the instruments. Just like when she was 12, standing on a milk crate to help me with surgeries back home. "Her breathing's getting shallow, Dad." Sarah's voice stayed calm, but I heard the worry underneath. The young veterinarian from the conservation center, Dr. Santos, nice girl from Texas, kept checking the lioness's heartbeat with her stethoscope. "Heart rate's dropping. 50. 45? My hands were deep in the surgical opening, feeling around that awful tumor. Big as a basketball, maybe bigger. Purple-black thing that had been killing her for years. But there was something else in there. Something that shouldn't be. "There's metal," I said, feeling the hard edge with my fingertips. "Wire, I think." Marcus Wade, the local fellow who'd been tracking her, leaned in from his spot by the door. His face carried old scars, 4 lines from temple to jaw. "That's the wire from the trap. 12 years old now." 12 years. This poor creature had been carrying this poison in her body for 12 years. Outside, something remarkable was happening. 8 lions, her whole family, sat in the yard like they were keeping vigil. The big male, magnificent even in the drought, hadn't moved in hours, just watching our barn like he understood what we were trying to do. "Tom," Jimmy called from outside. My neighbor, 72 years old and tough as leather. "Tom, they're getting closer." The male had stood up, taken a few steps toward us. "Let him come," I heard myself say, though my hands trembled slightly as I worked. That tremor started after Danny died, ended my career really, brought me to this forgotten corner of Kenya where I thought I could drink myself to peace. But peace never came, just empty days and nights full of memories. The wire in the lioness was wrapped around tissue like a snake, rusted and evil-looking. Marcus had told us the story, how he'd set that trap years ago when he was hungry and desperate, how this lioness got caught trying to protect cubs that weren't even hers. "Dr. Brennan?" Young Becca's voice went high with worry. "We're losing her." I looked up and caught Sarah's eyes. She had that same determined look Danny used to get, the one that said, "We don't quit, not when something needs us." "Dad," she said quietly, "remember what Danny wrote in his last letter?" "Not now, honey." "Yes, now." Her voice got firm, like her mother's used to. "He said the wounded souls we heal aren't just animals. He knew you'd need to save something to save yourself." The lioness's heart was stuttering on that little monitor we'd rigged up. Outside, the male lion stood tall and opened his mouth. The sound that came out wasn't quite a roar. It was different, almost like he was calling to her. "He's calling her back," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. My hands moved on their own then, the way they used to before everything fell apart. Muscle memory from 40 years of saving creatures. The wire came free with a wet sound, followed by blood. Too much blood. "Clamp," I called out, and Sarah already had it ready. We moved together like we used to, father and daughter, back when the world made sense. The bleeding slowed, then stopped. The massive tumor lifted away from healthy tissue, 22 pounds of suffering finally released. But the lioness had stopped breathing. "No," I said, starting chest compressions on that massive chest. "No, not like this. I couldn't lose another one. Not after Danny. Not after my wife Margaret died of a broken heart. Not after 3 years of hiding in this exile, pretending nothing mattered anymore." Then Marcus started to sing, low and rhythmic, in a language I didn't recognize. Some old African prayer, maybe. The other lions joined in, not roaring exactly, but making this sound that seemed to fill the barn and wrap around us all. "What is that?" Sarah whispered. "My grandmother called it the breath between worlds," Marcus replied. "When something is deciding whether to stay or go." I kept pumping on her chest. 30 compressions. Then Sarah would squeeze air into her lungs with the bag. 30 more. My arms burned and my shoulders ached, but I kept going. "Tom," Jimmy said gently from the doorway. "It's been 2 minutes, Tom." But I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Because stopping meant failing again. And I'd done enough of that to last a lifetime. Then, Lord have mercy, the lioness gasped. Her heart kicked back to life on that little monitor, weak and thready, but there. "Thank God," Jimmy breathed. I fell backward, and Sarah caught me before I hit the floor. My hands were shaking worse than ever, but this time it wasn't from the tremor. It was from something else, something that felt dangerous, like hope. The male lion moved right up to the barn door then, his great head filling the doorway. His amber eyes looked straight at me, and in them I saw something I recognized. We were 2 old creatures, both carrying scars, both trying to protect something we loved. "She's not out of danger," Becca warned, still monitoring vitals. But I wasn't really listening. I was watching Marcus move to the lioness's head, his scarred hands gentle as he touched her face. "There's something I need to tell you," Marcus said. "About that day 12 years ago. About why she came to your door specifically." He pulled out an old photograph, water-stained and creased. "The Americans who hired me to guide that hunt, one of them was named Brennan." My blood went cold. "What did you say?" "Your brother, Dr. Brennan. Richard was one of the hunters." Before we continue, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know which city you're watching from. Now, let's get back to the story. Tom counted her breaths through the kitchen window. 16, 17, 18 per minute. The lioness lay under the acacia tree 40 yards from his porch, that tumor pulling her left shoulder down until she listed like a boat taking water. 2 days she'd been there now. First day she'd tried to reach the water trough, made it halfway before her back legs gave out. Now she just lay there, ribs showing through patchy fur, watching his house with those amber eyes. The coffee in his mug had gone cold again. 3rd cup this morning he'd let sit while watching her. The kitchen clock, Margaret's old rooster clock from their Montana kitchen, showed 10:30. Time for his first beer, except he hadn't touched one since she showed up. His hands weren't shaking this morning, first time in months. Strange how watching something die could steady a man. The sat phone rang. Tom knew who it'd be without checking. 3rd Sunday of the month, regular as sunrise. Sarah, calling from California to talk about nothing that mattered. Weather, her law practice, anything but Danny or Margaret. He let it ring. The lioness shifted, trying to find a position where that growth didn't press against the ground. A sound escaped her throat. Not a growl, more like air leaking from a punctured tire. Dark fluid had pooled in the dirt beneath the tumor. Tom's fingers found Danny's letter in his shirt pocket. Paper soft as tissue now, worn from handling. "Keep saving them, Dad. The broken ones." Screen door creaked. Jimmy Kowalski stood there with the weekly supplies from town. Tall and lean at 72, face like worn saddle leather. "She's still there?" Jimmy set down the box of groceries. Yeah. Called the Rangers? No. Jimmy pulled out a warm Tusker beer, popped it open, took a long pull. Tom, you can't just... I'm not doing anything. The words came out sharper than intended. Your surgical kit's on the kitchen table. Tom glanced at it. Still sealed in plastic, but sitting there like an accusation. So? So yesterday it was in the closet, and you've been counting medications. Saw you through the window. Just organizing? That's what you said before you put my rifle in your mouth 3 years ago. The memory hit like cold water. Jimmy kicking down the bathroom door, the taste of gun oil, Margaret's photo on the floor. That was different. Was it? Jimmy moved closer. Tom, I know what you're thinking. Dust cloud on the access road, white Land Cruiser moving too fast, bouncing over ruts. Sarah, Tom said, though she wasn't due for months. The cruiser stopped hard. Sarah climbed out, and Tom saw it immediately. The rounded belly under her loose cotton shirt. 6 months along, maybe 7. She stood by the car, one hand pressed against her middle, staring at the Lioness, then at Tom. Dad? She said. The word carried something new. Not anger, not grief, fear. A man walked out of the morning heat shimmer, moving quiet as smoke through the acacia trees. Tall, thin, carrying an old rifle loose in his right hand, like men do when they've carried one for years. Tom's hand moved to his hip. Nothing there. Haven't carried since Montana, since before everything went wrong. That your lion? The man's accent was local but educated, like he'd been to school but hadn't forgotten where he came from. Nobody's lion, Tom replied. Sarah stepped between them, protective even with that belly. Who are you? Marcus Wade. He set the rifle against the fence post, careful-like. 4 scars ran from his left temple down to his jaw. Old scars, but deep enough to make a man memorable. Been tracking her for 10 days. The Lioness lifted her head at his voice. Just an inch or two, but Tom caught it. Her pupils went wide, then narrow. She knew this man. Game warden? Tom asked, though the man didn't have the look. No? Poacher then? Not anymore. Marcus squatted by the fence, studying the tumor from 20 yards away. 40 miles she's walked, maybe 50. Past 2 other ranches with water. 3 places she could have stopped. But she came here. Coincidence, Tom said. You ever seen a dying animal walk 50 miles by coincidence? Sarah moved closer to Tom, her breathing quick and shallow. That tumor, how long has she had it? 12 years. Marcus's fingers traced the fence wire, testing its tension. Started small, egg-sized maybe. Body trying to wall off something foreign. Tom felt his chest tighten. How could you know that? Marcus's hand dropped from the fence. Because I set the snare that caused it. Jimmy's beer can crumpled in his fist, foam spilling over his fingers. You son of a... Jimmy. Tom's voice cut sharp. Kept his eyes on Marcus's face. No defiance there, just fact, plain as morning. Wire snare, Marcus continued. November 2012. Meant for bush meat. My family was hungry. My boy had fever, needed medicine. No money for medicine without meat to sell. The Lioness's breathing changed, faster, rougher, like she understood what they were discussing. She walked into it protecting cubs, Marcus said. Not even her own cubs, her daughter's. The daughter had been shot by hunters, was dying slow. This Lioness was trying to adopt the little ones, lead them to water. Sarah's hand found Tom's arm. Her fingers dug in. The cubs? 2 died that day, sun and thirst. The 3rd lasted another week. Marcus stood, his knees popping like dry twigs. But before they died, something else happened. He touched his scars, unconscious gesture. She charged me when I tried to cut the wire. Gave me these. Should have killed me, had every right to. But she went back for the cubs instead. Tom watched the lioness struggle to shift position. The tumor had grown so large it touched the ground when she lay on her side. Dark stains in the dirt where fluid leaked from it. "You cut her free?" Sarah asked. "Tried to. Wire was deep in the muscle by then. Cut most of it, but pieces stayed. Embedded." Marcus walked closer to the fence. "My clients, Americans paying for a hunt. They wanted to shoot her while she was trapped. Wanted the cubs, too. Said it would make a better story." Tom's stomach turned. Trophy hunters. Rich men from Dallas. Paid $5,000 for a male lion. But a female with cubs. Marcus shrugged. They said it was more dramatic. The lioness made a sound. Low, guttural. Her eye fixed on Marcus. "I stood between them and her," Marcus said. "That's when she charged. While they were arguing with me, she tore my face open. Gave them the distraction they wanted. They took photos while I bled." "Photos?" Sarah's voice went cold. Marcus pulled out a water-stained photograph, handed it through the fence. Tom took it, his fingers suddenly numb. 3 men grinning beside a dead buffalo. The one in the middle held the rifle Marcus carried now. The one on the left, Richard. The name scraped out of Tom's throat. His younger brother. Heavier then, before the diabetes. That same cocky grin from childhood. Tom remembered the phone call now. Richard, drunk, rambling about Africa, about finding himself, about becoming a real man. "Your brother gave me this rifle," Marcus said. "After. Said I'd earned it." Sarah grabbed the photo, stared. "Uncle Richard was here? Hunting lions?" "He tried to stop me from cutting the wire," Marcus said. "Said to let nature take its course. When I freed her anyway, when she charged, he took pictures. Laughed while she tore my face. Then they left, all 3 of them. Got in their Land Cruiser and drove away while I bled in the dirt." Tom's legs felt weak. He sat on the porch step, hard. The wood creaked under his weight. "Richard called me," Tom said. "Week after that trip. Said he'd found peace in Africa. Said he'd discovered something about himself. Never said what." "He discovered he liked watching things die," Marcus said. Sarah's breathing had gone ragged. She pressed both hands against her belly. "Dad, are you saying—" "The wire in that tumor, the thing that's killing her." Tom's voice sounded far away to his own ears. "My brother paid for it." The lioness struggled to stand, made it halfway before her legs buckled. Dust rose around her collapse. "Why tell us this?" Sarah demanded. "Why now?" Marcus looked straight at Tom. "Because your brother told me about you. That night at the bar, bragging. Said his brother was a veterinarian who could save anything but was too soft to understand the real world. Too weak to do what needed doing." Tom's hands started shaking. The tremor that ended his career, that made him useless after Danny died. "I remembered the name," Marcus continued. "Brennan, the vet who could save anything. When she started dying, when the tumor got too big, I hoped she'd find her way here. To you." "You led her here?" "No, I followed. She chose this place herself." Marcus pointed at the lioness. "But now she's here, and that wire is still killing her. And you're the only one who might be able to stop it." Tom stood, walked to the kitchen, came back with his surgical kit, still sealed. His hands shook so bad the plastic rattled. "I can't," he said. "My hands—" "Your hands are fine," Sarah said. "It's your heart that's broken." She pulled out an envelope from her purse, Danny's handwriting on the front, Tom's name in blue ink. "Don't," Tom said. "He sent me one too," Sarah said. "Right before that last patrol. Want to know what it says?" The lioness coughed, wet, rattling. Blood spotted the dirt beneath her mouth. Sarah opened the letter. "Tell Dad the animals still need him, even if I don't make it back, especially if I don't make it back." Tom's vision blurred. Through the tears, he saw the lioness watching him, those amber eyes steady despite the pain. "She's dying," Marcus said. "Today, Maybe tomorrow. But the wire is what's killing her. The wire your brother paid for. Tom broke the seal on the surgical kit. Inside, instruments gleamed in the morning sun. Scalpels, forceps, everything needed to save a life, or lose another one trying. His hands shook worse looking at them. Then Sarah's hand covered his, steady, warm. "Together," she said, "like we used to." The lioness lifted her head, looking at them, waiting. Marcus chambered a round in the rifle. "There's something else you need to know, about that hunt, about your brother." Tom looked up. "He wasn't just a client," Marcus said. "He was the one who shot the daughter, the mother of those cubs." "Richard shot her." Tom repeated the words, tasting bile. "My brother shot the mother." Marcus nodded, still holding that old rifle. "Point blank, she was nursing. The cubs scattered, crying. That's when this one," he gestured at the dying lioness, "came running. She heard the shot, heard the cubs." Tom's surgical kit sat open on the porch. The instruments caught morning light. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Coffee and whiskey shakes, Margaret used to call them. But Margaret was dead, and these shakes came from somewhere deeper. "Dad," Sarah's voice pulled him back. "Dad, we need to decide." The lioness had dragged herself closer to the water trough. 10 feet. That's all she'd managed, leaving a dark trail in the dust. Her sides heaved, counting out breaths that came too fast, too shallow. "Get Jimmy's truck," Tom heard himself say. "We'll need to move her to the barn." "You're going to operate?" Sarah's hand pressed against her belly. "I'm going to try." Sarah headed for Jimmy's truck. Tom walked to the lioness, stopped 5 feet away, close enough to see flies clustering on the tumor, close enough to smell infection and decay. "I need sedative," he told Marcus. "You know this area. There's a veterinary center about 30 miles north. Dr. Santos runs it." "Becca Santos. I know her. Tell her Tom Brennan needs everything for major surgery. She'll know what that means." Marcus hesitated. "You sure your hands—" "My hands are shot, but Sarah's aren't." Tom knelt in the dirt, still watching the lioness. "She assisted me from age 12. She can do this." The lioness's eye tracked to him, pupil dilated with pain, but alert, aware. "I'm going to put you under," Tom told her, like she was one of his old patients in Montana. "Going to cut that thing out of you. Might not work, probably won't, but that wire shouldn't be in there." She blinked, slow, deliberate. Sarah returned with Jimmy. They'd backed the truck close, laid out a tarp in the bed. "How do we move her?" Jimmy asked. "Carefully." Tom loaded the tranquilizer gun. Standard dose would put her under in minutes. "Marcus, how long to the vet center?" "Hour, maybe more." "Go. Now." Marcus left at a run. Tom heard his truck engine turn over, tires spinning in the dirt. Tom approached the lioness with the dart gun. She didn't move, didn't growl, just watched him with those amber eyes that had seen too much. "This'll sting," he said. The dart hit clean, 3 inches behind her shoulder. She flinched but didn't fight. Her breathing gradually slowed. Her massive head lowered until it rested on the ground. "Help me," Tom said. The 3 of them lifted her. 300 pounds of dying cat. The tumor added another 20, pulling her body sideways. Tom's back screamed. Sarah grunted with effort, her pregnant belly making it hard to get leverage. They got her in the truck bed. Tom climbed in beside her, monitoring her breathing. Still too fast, but steady. "Drive slow," he told Jimmy. "Every bump hurts her." The barn was cooler, dim after the morning glare. They'd cleared a space, set up the makeshift operating table. Tom arranged his instruments on a hay bale covered with a clean sheet, each tool exactly where he'd need it. Sarah washed her hands in the bucket of boiled water. "Like old times. Your mother hated you helping with surgeries." "No, she didn't. She was proud. She just worried you'd want me to be a vet instead of a lawyer." Tom pulled on latex gloves. They snapped against his wrists.
I wanted you to be happy.
I know. Sarah dried her hands. That's why I came, to tell you something. Later. No, Dad, now, before we start. She faced him across the unconscious Lioness. I found your journal, the one from 3 years ago. Tom's chest tightened. I know about the pills, the gun. I know Jimmy found you. Sarah's eyes filled, but her voice stayed steady. I know you wanted to die. Sarah. And I know why you didn't. She pulled out a leather journal, Tom's. You wrote about Danny, about promises, about the animals still needing you even if you couldn't save him. Tom looked away. Through the barn door, he could see storm clouds building on the horizon. First rain in months, maybe. I need to tell you something, Sarah said. About this baby. About why I really came. Dust cloud on the road. Marcus returning. But too soon. He'd only been gone 20 minutes. A different vehicle pulled up. Conservation Center truck. Dr. Becca Santos climbed out, already unloading medical supplies. Heard you needed help, she called. Young voice, Texas accent. Marcus called from the road. I was already heading this way. She hauled in cases of supplies. IVS, antibiotics, surgical equipment Tom hadn't seen in years. Proper tools. This is insane, Becca said, surveying the setup. Operating on a lion in a barn? Probably, Tom agreed. She should be in a proper facility. No time. Tom positioned the overhead light. She's dying now, today. Through the barn door, Tom saw shapes on the horizon, moving steady across the savannah. Marcus, he called. What is that? Marcus looked, his scarred face going tight. The pride. They're coming. 8 lions, maybe 9, walking straight toward the barn. Will they attack? Sarah asked. No, Marcus said. They're coming to wait. The lead lion, a massive male with a black mane, stopped 100 yards out. The others arranged themselves behind him, watching. Tom looked down at the sedated lioness, at the tumor that would kill her within hours, at his shaking hands, at his pregnant daughter ready to assist. They know, Marcus said quietly. They know she's either going to live or die today. Tom picked up the scalpel. His hand trembled so badly the blade danced in the air. Dad, Sarah said. He set it down, flexed his fingers, tried again. Worse. The male lion stood, took 3 steps toward the barn, stopped, waiting. Tom closed his eyes, breathed deep, thought of Danny teaching him the marine breathing technique. 4 counts in, hold, 4 counts out. When he opened his eyes, the entire pride had moved closer. 50 yards now. If she dies on that table, Marcus said, they'll know we tried to help. But if we don't try... He didn't finish, didn't need to. Tom picked up the scalpel again. This time, his hand held steady just long enough to make the first cut. The scalpel parted skin and yellow fat, revealing the tumor's purple mass. Bigger than Tom expected. Not basketball-sized, bigger. The thing pulsed with its own network of blood vessels, like something alive trying to be born. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, Becca whispered from her position monitoring vitals. Tom's hand stayed steady for 3 more seconds. Then the tremor returned. He set down the blade, flexed his fingers. Dad? Sarah stood across from him, already holding gauze. I'm all right. But he wasn't. Sweat ran into his eyes. His lower back seized from bending over the makeshift table. The barn felt too hot, air too thick. Through the open door, the pride had arranged themselves in a half-circle. The male sat in front like a general watching a battle. No threat in his posture. Just waiting. Tom picked up the scalpel again, cut deeper. The tumor had tentacles spreading into healthy tissue, wrapping around muscle. He traced one with his finger, felt something hard. There's the wire. Rusted metal, thick as fence wire, woven through tissue like embroidery. Not one piece, dozens of fragments where it had broken apart over 12 years. The lioness's body had tried to wall it off, creating this monster in the process. Irrigation, Tom said. Sarah poured sterile saline from a bottle. The fluid sluiced through the opening, carrying away blood and debris. Tom could see better now. The wire had wrapped around major vessels. One wrong move would cause a bleed they couldn't stop. Her breathing shallow, Sarah reported. 12 per minute. That's expected under sedation. No, Dad, it's different. Listen. Tom listened. Heard it. A rattle in her chest with each breath. Fluid in the lungs. The stress of surgery triggering pneumonia. Or maybe she'd been fighting it already. We need to work faster. Tom traced the wire deeper. It led toward the femoral artery, wrapped around it like a noose. But this, Sarah, if I nick this vessel, she's dead in 30 seconds. So what do you do? In a real operating room? Vascular clamps, proper light, assistance. Tom wiped sweat from his forehead with his shoulder. Here, we pray and go slow. Marcus appeared at his shoulder. The pride's getting restless. Tom glanced outside. Several females had stood, pacing. The male remained still, but his tail twitched, sign of agitation. They smell the blood, Marcus said. They know she's vulnerable. They won't attack, Tom said, though he wasn't sure. Not attack, but if they think she's dying, they might leave, abandon her. Animals don't, they do. Marcus's voice carried certainty. Seen it before. Pride can't afford sentiment. If she can't keep up, they move on. Tom found the main wire, thick, embedded deep. He positioned forceps above and below it. His hands shook. Bad timing for the tremor to return. Sarah, you need to do this part. What? Your hands are steady, mine aren't. Sarah moved to his position. Tom guided her hands to the right spot. Feel that? That's the artery. The wires around it. You need to grip here and here, then pull straight back, smooth motion. Dad, I can't. You extracted that wolf's tooth when you were 15. This is the same thing. That was a tooth, not... Same thing, Tom repeated. Trust your hands. Sarah gripped the forceps. Tom watched her breathing slow, the way he'd taught her. The way Danny used to breathe before a difficult shot at the range. She pulled. The wire resisted, then came free with a wet, sucking sound. No blood spray. The artery held. Perfect, Tom breathed. They worked in rhythm after that. Tom identifying wire fragments, Sarah extracting them. Piece by piece, they removed 12 years of poison. The pile of metal on the side table grew. 30 pieces. 40. Heart rate dropping, Becca announced. 50. 45. Tom found another wire, this one wrapped around what looked like intestine. As he pulled it free, greenish fluid leaked out. Bowel perforation, he said. The wire went through. That'll cause sepsis, Becca said. Fatal without... I know what it'll cause. Tom studied the tiny hole. In a proper hospital, this was fixable. Here, with makeshift equipment, a shadow fell across the barn door. The male lion stood there, 20 feet away, close enough that Tom could smell him. Musky, wild, dangerous. Jimmy raised his shotgun. Don't, Marcus said quietly. Nobody move. The male stepped into the barn. His massive head swung toward the table where the lioness lay open, her life exposed. He made a sound, not a roar, something lower. The other lions answered from outside. He's checking on her, Marcus whispered, seeing if she's still alive. The male approached until he stood beside the table, his head level with Tom's chest. One swipe of those paws would kill any of them, but he just stood there, breathing on Tom's arm, watching. Tom's hands had stopped shaking entirely. Sarah, he said calmly, the finest suture. We need to close this perforation. She found it, handed it over. Tom worked with the lion inches away, each stitch precise. The hole closed slowly, one layer, then another. The male made that sound again. This time, Tom felt it in his chest, a vibration like distant thunder. "He's calling the others," Marcus said. The females entered the barn, 7 of them, moving silent on huge paws. They formed a circle around the table. Tom smelled their breath, felt their heat. Any fear he'd had evaporated. There wasn't room for fear with work to be done. "The tumor's free," he said. "Sarah, help me lift it." Together, they raised the mass. 22 pounds of diseased tissue. As it came away, Tom saw the damage underneath. Destroyed muscle, eroded bone, scarred tissue that would never fully heal. "She'll never hunt again," Becca said quietly. "She hasn't hunted in years," Marcus replied. "Too old. She's the matriarch. She teaches, leads, keeps the pride together." Tom began closing, layer by careful layer. The lions watched every move. One female, scarred across her shoulder, moved closer. She sniffed the tumor Tom had set aside, then made a disgusted sound. "That's her sister," Marcus said. "Same litter, 15 years ago." The sister moved to the lioness's head, began grooming her face with that rough tongue, cleaning away blood and dirt with infinite care. "Almost done," Tom said. "Just the skin now." That's when everything went wrong. Blood erupted from somewhere deep. Not a leak, a geyser. It coated Tom's glasses, filled the cavity in seconds. "Suction!" he barked. Sarah grabbed the manual pump, but it couldn't keep up. Blood poured onto the barn floor. The male lion stepped back, but only one step. Tom's hands plunged into the cavity, searching blind. His fingers found the tear, the posterior artery. The wire had weakened it over years, and the surgery had caused it to rupture. "Can't see," Tom said. "Need to—" The tremor returned, violent. His hands shaking too badly to maintain pressure. "Let me," Sarah said, her hands sliding in beside his. "You can't. Tell me what to do. Pressure above the tear, hard as you can." Sarah's hands found the spot, pressed. The bleeding slowed but didn't stop. Now what? Tom's mind raced. In Afghanistan, Danny's unit medic had saved a Marine with a similar wound. What had Danny written about it? Something about field medicine, about making do. "Dad?" Sarah's voice tight with strain. "She's dying." The male lion lowered his great head until his forehead touched the lioness's side. The other lions made that sound again, low, rhythmic, almost like singing. Tom remembered. "Dental floss, in my kit, and the medical adhesive." "The what?" "Superglue, medical grade. Danny wrote about it. His medic used it in the field." Becca found both. Tom talked Sarah through it while maintaining pressure. Thread the floss under the artery. Tie it off above the tear, then seal with adhesive. Sarah's hands disappeared into the cavity alongside his, their fingers tangled in blood and tissue. The pride's sound grew louder, filling the barn. "Got it," Sarah said. She pulled the floss tight. Tom released pressure gradually. The bleeding slowed to a trickle. "Now the adhesive." Sarah applied it with steady hands, the tissue sealed. They waited. 5 seconds. 10. The repair held. "Heart rate?" Tom asked. Becca moved her stethoscope. 28. "Tom, she's crashing." The male lion stood. His mane brushed Tom's shoulder. Close enough to kill. Close enough to watch Tom fail. Then, the lioness flatlined. Tom's palms pressed into the lioness's chest, just behind her front legs. The ribs flexed under pressure. 1, 2, 3. Counted out like Danny taught him from his CPR training. "No pulse," Becca said again, her stethoscope moving across the massive chest. "She's gone." "She's not gone." Tom locked his elbows, pressed harder. 4, 5, 6. The male lion moved closer, his breath hot on Tom's neck, smelling of meat and wilderness. The females tightened their circle, no aggression in it. They just stood witness. Sarah, the ambu bag, by the supplies. Sarah found it, positioned the mask over the lioness's muzzle. The fit wasn't right, made for dogs, not lions, but it would have to do. 2 breaths after every 30 compressions, Tom instructed. His shoulders burned. Sweat dripped onto the lioness's open incision. 28, 29, 30. Now, he said. Sarah squeezed the bag. Air rushed into still lungs. The chest rose, fell. She squeezed again. Tom started another round. The male lion shifted, his massive paw stepping into the pooled blood on the floor. He opened his mouth and made a sound Tom had never heard before. Low, sustained, like a bass note held on an organ. The females joined. The barn filled with the sound, vibrating in Tom's chest as he pressed down. 7, 8, 9. That's 1 minute, Becca said. Tom, she's not. Don't tell me what she's not. Marcus moved to the lioness's head, started speaking in a language Tom didn't recognize. Not Swahili, something older. The words had rhythm, matching Tom's compressions. My grandmother's words, Marcus said between phrases, for those between worlds. 14, 15, 16. Sarah squeezed the bag. Her tears fell on the lioness's face. Dad, please. Danny's unit. Tom's voice came in bursts between compressions. His medic brought a Marine back. After 20 minutes in the dirt. 22, 23. That was different. No different. 28, 29, 30. Breathe her. Sarah squeezed the bag. The lioness's chest rose like a bellows. No response. No flutter of life. Tom's arms shook from exhaustion, not tremor. His shirt soaked through. But he started another round. The lion's sound grew louder. Marcus's chanting rose with it. Even Jimmy, standing guard at the door, hummed something. An old hymn, maybe. 2 minutes, Becca announced. Tom's compressions weakened. His back seized. Sharp pain shot down his leg. Let me, Sarah said. You're pregnant. Let me help. She moved beside him, added her hands over his. Together they pressed. Father and daughter, working as one. The way they used to in Montana. Before Danny. Before everything broke. The male lion lowered his great head until his forehead touched the lioness's shoulder. The sound he made changed. Higher now. Almost like keening. 3 minutes. Tom's vision blurred. Salt stung his eyes. His arms felt like water. Sarah bore more of the weight now, her hands strong and sure. Remember, she said quietly. Remember what Mom used to sing when we worked late in the clinic. Tom remembered. Margaret in the corner, humming while they sutured or bandaged. That old hymn from her childhood church. Sarah started humming it, soft at first. Tom found himself matching the rhythm of compressions to the tune. Marcus's chanting aligned with it. The lion's vocalizations harmonized. The barn became something else. Not a church exactly, but sacred space. All of them, human and animal, focused on one impossible task. 4 minutes. Tom, Jimmy said gently. Tom, son, let her go. No. She's been down too long. Danny was down 20 minutes. Danny didn't make it either. The words hit like cold water. Tom's hands stopped, just for a second. Then Sarah pressed harder, taking over completely. He made it long enough, she said. Long enough to save 3 others in his unit. Long enough to matter. Tom's hands found strength. They pressed together, father and daughter. The pride's sound grew louder. Marcus raised his voice, those ancient words filling the space between heartbeats. Then Tom felt it. Tiny flutter under it. Weak, thready, but there. She's back, he whispered. The male lion roared, not the calling from before.
How long?
We should move her somewhere.
Tom, Marcus said, his voice strange. Something's happening. Tom looked where Marcus pointed. The lioness's incision was seeping. Not blood, clear fluid. That's spinal fluid, Becca said, her face going white. The surgery there must be a leak we didn't see. The lioness's breathing changed. Faster, more labored. Her one open eye rolled back. She was dying. After everything, she was still dying. And the rain began to fall. The lioness hadn't moved in 36 hours. Tom pressed the penlight against her eye. The pupil stayed wide, fixed, no contraction. Her chest rose and fell 12 times per minute, mechanical as a ventilator. The surgical site looked perfect. Clean edges, no infection, healing pink tissue. Everything right except the patient. His back seized as he straightened. He'd been bent over her for 20 minutes, checking reflexes that weren't there. The empty coffee cups around his feet numbered 7, maybe 8. He'd lost count around midnight. Sarah found him slumped against the barn wall at dawn, his head resting on the lioness's flank. His shirt, the same blood-stiff one from surgery, crackled when he moved. "Dad," her hand on his shoulder. Tom jerked. His neck popped, vertebrae grinding. "Check her breathing." Same, 12 per minute. Sarah's face looked drawn, purple shadows under her eyes. "When did you last eat?" The question didn't make sense. Food was something from before the surgery, before the arrest, before another failure. "She needs to wake up," Tom said. "Dad, she needs to wake up." His voice cracked, throat dry as dust. Sarah set down a plate, scrambled eggs, toast. The smell turned his stomach. "Becca's here," Sarah said. "Marcus, too. The pride hasn't moved." Tom looked through the barn door. 8 lions arranged in the dirt like headstones. The male hadn't shifted position since yesterday. His mane collected dew that sparkled in the early light. "They're waiting for her to die," Tom said. "They're waiting for her to live." Tom pressed the stethoscope to the lioness's chest. The heart rhythm stuttered. 2 beats. Skip. 3 beats. Long skip. Each beat weaker than the one before. Something rattled when she exhaled. "What was that?" Sarah asked. The rattle came again on the next breath. Wet. Thick. Tom had heard it in Margaret's final hours. In the wolves that didn't make it. Fluid. In her lungs. Becca appeared with the morning medications. "Started 2 hours ago. Both lungs." "Pneumonia?" Sarah asked. "Most likely." Becca drew up antibiotics. "But they're not working. I've given 3 different types." Tom watched the needle slide into the IV port. Useless. Her immune system was gone, burned out fighting the tumor for 12 years, then the surgery, then the arrest. "Temperature?" he asked. 104 and climbing. The lioness's gums had gone pale, almost white. Her tongue lolled out, dry as leather. Tom dripped water onto it from a syringe. Most ran off onto the table. "She's dying," he said. The words came out flat. Fact. "You don't know that," Sarah said. "Look at her. She's unconscious, pneumonic, heart failing. Every breath is drowning her. So we keep fighting." "With what?" Tom's control cracked. "What do you want me to do? Another surgery? More drugs? Prayer?" "Yes, all of it. Whatever it takes." Marcus entered the barn. He'd spent the night with the pride, translating their sounds, watching their vigil. "She's deciding," he said. "She's unconscious," Tom replied. "Her spirit is deciding, whether to stay or go." "That's not—" Tom stopped. He'd seen it too often. Animals at the crossroads, choosing. He pulled the locked box from his kit. 3 vials of pentobarbital inside. Enough to end it peacefully. No more drowning in lung fluid. No more pain. No. Marcus stepped between Tom and the lioness. She's suffering. She's fighting. Fighting? Tom's voice rose. She's been unconscious for 36 hours. She can't even open her eyes. My grandmother, Marcus said. The doctors said she had 2 days. She lived 6 months. My son, cancer they said would kill him in weeks. Still alive. You don't know. Jimmy's boots on the barn floor. Storm's coming. Tom looked out. Black clouds massing on the horizon. Lightning flickered in their depths. First rain in 4 months, Jimmy said. Drought's breaking. Thunder rolled across the savannah. The pride stirred. Several stood, facing the storm. Tom filled a syringe with pentobarbital, clear liquid. Peaceful ending. Sarah grabbed his wrist. Dad, wait. For what? For her to drown? For her heart to give out? For you to stop running? Tom pulled free. I'm not. You are. You've been running since Danny died. Since Mom died. Sarah's voice broke. You couldn't save them, so now you want to kill her instead of watching her die badly. The syringe shook in Tom's hand. This is mercy. This is fear. Tom's legs gave out. He sat hard on the packed dirt floor. The syringe rolled away. Margaret had died alone. Heart attack in her garden while Tom presented at a veterinary conference 2 states away. Sarah found her 3 hours later, face down in the roses. I wasn't there, Tom whispered. No, you weren't. Sarah sat beside him. And you've been punishing yourself ever since. Thunder crashed closer. The first drops hit the tin roof, sharp as gunfire. She was alone, calling for me probably, and I was showing slides to strangers. Sarah took his hand, placed it on her belly, movement under his palm, life, turning, swimming. Feel that? She asked. Yeah. I've been terrified to tell you. Thought if I loved this baby like you loved Danny, like you loved Mom, it would destroy me when something happened. It will. It does. But you loved them anyway. Tom thought of Danny's laugh, Margaret's smile in the morning. Yes. And you'd do it again. Yes. Then fight for her. Sarah pointed at the lioness. Even if she dies, fight. Marcus had moved to the lioness's head. He spoke in that old language again, hands gentle on her mane. The male lion approached the barn, stopped at the threshold. What's he doing? Sarah asked. Asking permission, Marcus said, to say goodbye. Not goodbye. Tom stood, grabbed fresh antibiotics, stronger cocktail. Not yet. He injected them all, added steroids for inflammation, fluid therapy for the fever. His hands steady now, purposeful. Rain began in earnest, fat drops that became a downpour. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in minutes. Water ran through gaps in the barn walls. The lioness shivered. Dad, look. Her eye had opened. Just one. Unfocused, pupils wide, but open. Tom grabbed his pen light. The pupil contracted slightly. Responsive. Can you hear me? He spoke close to her ear. The tumor's gone. The wire's out. You just have to fight a little longer. Thunder crashed directly overhead. The barn shook. Rain hammered the roof like applause. The male lion entered the barn. Water streamed from his mane. The other lions followed, their bodies steaming in the sudden cool. They surrounded the table. The lioness's other eye opened, found the male. Her throat made a sound, barely audible under the rain, but he heard it, moved closer until his nose touched hers. She sees them, Marcus said. The lioness tried to lift her head, failed. But her breathing changed, deeper, fighting the fluid instead of surrendering to it. Temperature? Tom asked. Becca checked. 103, dropping. The rain intensified. Water pooled around the lion's feet. They didn't move. Tom listened to her chest. The rattle remained, but quieter. Her heart rhythm, still broken but stronger. She might, Becca started. A gunshot cracked through the storm. Everyone froze. The lions' heads snapped toward the sound. Another shot. Closer. Jimmy ran to the door, shotgun ready. Poachers, using the storm for cover. A third shot. Tom saw a muzzle flash through the rain, 100 yards, maybe less. Marcus grabbed his rifle. They're after the pride. Storm makes tracking easier. Mud shows everything. Tom looked at the lioness, conscious but helpless. The pride torn between protecting her and fleeing. How many? He asked Jimmy. Can't tell.
3, maybe 4. Another shot. The male lion roared, challenge and warning. The sound would draw the poachers straight to them.
They'll kill them all, Marcus said. For the male alone, $20,000. The females, $5,000 each. Tom looked at his sedated patient, at his pregnant daughter, at the pride that had trusted them enough to enter the barn. A spotlight cut through the rain, sweeping toward them.
The spotlight swept across the barn's east wall. Voices carried through the rain, men shouting in Swahili, then English.
Lawrence, you see them? Big male went this way.
Tom counted muzzle flashes. 3 rifles, maybe 4. They were spreading out, trying to flank the barn.
Everyone down, Jimmy hissed.
Sarah dropped beside the operating table, one hand protecting her belly. Becca crouched behind the medical supplies. The lions stayed standing, muscles coiled, lips pulled back from yellowed teeth. Marcus chambered around in the old Springfield.
They'll come through both doors, try to panic the pride into running, then shoot them in the open.
Tom looked at the lioness. Her eyes tracked the movement, but she couldn't lift her head. The 4th line still dripped antibiotics into her blood. Pointless if a bullet found her first.
Can she be moved? Sarah whispered.
Moving her will kill her. Staying might too. A man appeared in the doorway. Young, maybe 25, rifle raised. His headlamp cut through the barn's darkness, landed on the male lion.
Got him, the man shouted. The big males.
The male charged. Not a full attack, just 3 quick steps. The man stumbled backward, fell in the mud, scrambled away screaming. Jimmy fired his shotgun into the air. Rock salt, not pellets. Warning shot.
Next one won't miss.
Return fire cracked against the barn's metal roof. The lions paced now, agitated. 2 females headed for the rear door.
No, Marcus said to them in that old language. Stay together.
Whether they understood or not, they stopped. Tom disconnected the IV from the lioness. If they had to run, when they had to run, at least she wouldn't be tethered.
Dad?
Sarah pointed outside. Through the rain, more lights.
Not rifles, vehicle headlights. 2 trucks pulling up, men spilling out.
6 of them now, Jimmy counted. Maybe 7. The lioness made a sound, weak but distinct. The male turned to her, then back to the threat, torn between protecting and fleeing.
Tom Brennan,
a voice called from outside. American accent, Southern.
We know you're in there. We're not here for you.
Tom's chest tightened. He knew that voice.
Just want the lions, the man continued. Step aside, nobody gets hurt.
That's, Sarah started.
William Brennan.
Tom's nephew, Richard's son.
My brother's boy.
Marcus looked at Tom.
Your family?
Was. Tom stood, despite Jimmy's protest, walked to the doorway. William stood in the rain, rifle casual in his hands. 30 years old now. Last time Tom saw him was Danny's funeral.
Uncle Tom,
William smiled. Same smile as Richard.
Heard you were playing doctor out here.
William. Tom's voice stayed level. You need to leave.
Can't do that. These lions killed 2 cattle last month. Ranchers hired us to solve the problem.
That's a lie.
Is it?
William gestured at the pride. Look at them. Killers, every one.
The male lion stood between William's group and the lioness. Water streamed from his mane. His amber eyes never left William's face.
Magnificent, isn't he? William said. His head will look perfect in my office, like the one Dad got. Your father never killed a lion.
Sure he did. 12 years ago. Told me all about it. How he faced down a charging lioness. How she scarred his guide. William's smile widened. How his weak brother wouldn't understand. Tom felt the words like physical blows. Behind him, the lioness's breathing had quickened, stress making the pneumonia worse.
She's dying anyway, William said, pointing at the lioness. Look at her. Let us end it clean. Bullet's better than what she's going through. Get off my property. Not your property, Uncle. You're squatting on conservation land. No legal claim. One of William's men had circled the barn. Tom saw him through the side gap, rifle raised, aiming at the females. Marcus, Tom said quietly. Marcus was already moving. He fired the Springfield into the ground at the man's feet. The man jumped back, cursing. Next one goes through your knee, Marcus called out. William's men raised their rifles. 7 weapons pointed at the barn. This is stupid, William said. 7 guns against what? An old drunk, a pregnant woman, and a scarred-up African? For what? Animals? The lioness lifted her head. First time in 36 hours. Her neck shook with effort, but she held it up. Looking at William. See? William said. She knows. Animals always know when it's time. The lioness tried to roar. What came out was barely a cough, wet with pneumonia. But she tried. The male answered, full-throated roar that shook rain from the roof. The other lions joined, 8 voices in the storm. Beautiful, William said. They'll sound even better on the video when we take them down. Sarah stood up, walked to Tom's side despite his gesture to stay back, her pregnant belly visible in the lightning flashes. You're Danny's cousin, she said to William. He talked about you. Yeah? What'd he say? That you were lost? That you needed to prove something that couldn't be proven. William's face darkened. Danny's dead. Died for nothing, in a war that meant nothing. Tom's hands formed fists. Jimmy's hand found his shoulder, holding him back. He died saving 3 Marines, Sarah said. What have you ever saved? I don't save things. I take them, clean and simple. The lioness collapsed. Her head hit the table hard. The brief effort had cost everything. Her breathing went ragged, rattling. She's crashing, Becca said. Heart rate dropping. Tom turned back to his patient, grabbed the stethoscope. Heart barely beating now, maybe 10 beats per minute. Let her go, Uncle, William called. It's kinder. Tom looked at the lioness. Her eyes had rolled back, foam at her mouth from the lung fluid, everything failing at once. Dad, Sarah said, the baby's moving. A lot. Tom saw her hands on her belly, face tight with discomfort. Something's wrong, she said. It feels... A scream cut through the rain. Not human. Tom knew that sound. Leopard. What? William started. The scream came again, closer.
One of William's men shouted, "Something's out there!" "Where?" "I don't—" The man's voice cut off. Thrashing sounds in the brush. His rifle fired wild, bullets spraying into the night. "Lawrence!" William called. "Lawrence!" No answer. Just rain and thunder. "Circle up," William ordered his remaining men. "Watch the perimeter." The lions had gone silent, alert. They knew that sound too. Leopard meant danger even for them. Tom felt the lioness's pulse, still there, barely. She's fighting, Marcus said. She's dying. Same thing sometimes. Another scream, different direction. The leopard was circling. One of William's men broke, ran for the trucks. "Stand your ground," William shouted. The running man made it 10 yards before something hit him from the side. He went down hard, rifle flying. Scrambled up, ran screaming toward the road. "It's hunting us," one of William's men said, voice high with panic. "It's one leopard." "No," Marcus cut him off. "Female with cubs. You're near her den." The remaining men clustered together, rifles swinging at every sound. The rain made it impossible to see beyond 20 feet.
Tom watched William's confidence crack, the hunter becoming hunted. "We're leaving," William announced. "This isn't over, Uncle." They backed toward the trucks, weapons aimed at the darkness. One truck started, then the other. They peeled out, mud spraying. The leopard screamed once more. Victory, maybe, or warning. Tom turned back to the lioness, still breathing, but barely. Sarah grabbed his arm. "Dad, I think the baby's coming."
"It's too early." Sarah's voice went tight, her hands pressed against her belly.
"I'm only 7 months."
Tom's mind split in two. The lioness dying on the table, his daughter in pain, both needing him, both beyond his ability to save. "Contractions?" he asked.
Maybe. It's different. Pressure."
Becca moved to Sarah.
"Let me check."
Tom stayed with the lioness, her breathing barely there now, 8 per minute, then 6. The male lion pressed closer, his massive head over her body.
"She's letting go,"
Marcus said.
"No."
Tom pressed his hands to her chest, started compressions again. His shoulders screamed from earlier, but he pushed through.
"Not now. Not after everything."
The pride made that sound again, low frequency that vibrated in his chest, but different this time, not calling her back, letting her go.
"Dad,"
Sarah gasped.
"Something's happening."
Tom looked.
Fluid ran down Sarah's legs. Clear, not blood. Her water had broken. "We need to get you to a hospital," Becca said.
"It's 40 miles,
Sarah said.
in this storm?"
Another contraction hit. Sarah doubled over, grabbing the table edge. The lioness's eye opened at the movement. Just a slit. But she saw Sarah, saw the pain. The lioness made a sound, weak, almost nothing. But Tom heard intent in it. "She knows," Marcus said. "Mothers always know." Tom felt the lioness's pulse. Still there, faint but steady. The pneumonia rattled in her chest, but she was breathing on her own. "Sarah needs help," Tom said. "We have to."
"No."
Sarah straightened between contractions.
"We finish this first."
"You're in labor."
"Early labor. We have time."
She looked at the lioness.
"She doesn't."
Tom watched his daughter's face, saw Margaret's determination there. Danny's too. "What do you need?" he asked. "For you to save her. Then we deal with this baby." Tom turned back to the lioness. The male lion hadn't moved. His amber eyes met Tom's. In them, Tom saw the same thing he'd seen in Danny's eyes that last video call. Not fear, not surrender. Trust. "All right," Tom said. "Marcus, help me move her." "Move her where?" "Outside, under the sky. If she's going to die, let it be with rain on her face." They lifted the lioness, Tom at shoulders, Marcus at hips, Jimmy supporting the middle. 300 pounds of dying cat. The pride parted, letting them through. Rain hit immediately, cool, clean. The lioness's eye opened wider, her nostrils flared, taking in the smell of wet earth. They set her on a patch of grass 50 feet from the barn. The pride circled her. The male lay beside her, his body against hers, sharing warmth. The rain washed blood from her fur. Pink rivulets ran into the earth. Thunder rolled overhead, but softer now, the storm passing. Sarah made it outside, Becca supporting her. Another contraction hit. She breathed through it the way Tom had taught her to breathe during surgeries, controlled, focused. The lioness watched Sarah. Their eyes met across the distance. 2 mothers, one arriving, one leaving. Maybe.
"Her breathing's stronger,"
Becca said, checking the lioness. Tom looked. It was true. The rattle remained, but less wet. Her chest rose higher with each breath.
"The rain," Marcus said. "The cool air. It's helping."
Or maybe it was being with her pride, being under open sky instead of trapped in human construction. Tom didn't know, didn't care. She was fighting again. Sarah cried out, another contraction, harder.
That's 3 minutes apart, Becca said.
We need to.
The lioness lifted her head, shaking with effort, but up. She looked at Sarah, made that sound again, stronger this time. Sarah laughed through her pain. She's telling me it's okay, that it's supposed to hurt. Tom divided his attention, checking the lioness's vitals, timing Sarah's contractions. The rain had become drizzle, first stars showing through breaking clouds. An hour passed. The lioness grew stronger, not much, but noticeable. Her temperature dropped to normal, heart rhythm still broken but manageable. Sarah's contractions stayed regular but didn't accelerate. False labor, maybe? Or the baby deciding to wait? Look, Marcus said. The lioness was trying to stand. The male rose with her, his shoulder supporting hers. She made it to her feet, wobbled, but stood. Impossible, Becca breathed. Not impossible, just unlikely. Tom had seen it before. Animinding, choosing the harder path because something mattered more than their own pain. The lioness took a step. Another. The male matched her pace. The pride rose, forming a guard around her. Where's she going? Sarah asked. Away, Tom said. Back to the wild. She can't survive. The pneumonia, the heart damage. Maybe not, but she'll die free. The lioness stopped 20 yards away, turned back. Her eyes found Tom's. In them, he saw himself reflected, scarred, broken, but still here. She lifted her head and roared. Not loud, her lungs couldn't manage loud, but clear. The pride answered, 8 voices joining hers. The sound rolled across the savannah. Then she walked on, slow, listing to one side where the tumor had been, but walking. Should we follow? Becca asked. No, Tom said. We let her choose. They watched until the pride disappeared into the acacias. Gone, but not gone. Tom could feel them out there, moving through their world. Sarah's contractions stopped. The baby had decided to wait. Crisis passed, or postponed. We should get you checked, Tom said. Tomorrow. Tonight I need to rest. She looked where the lions had gone. You saved her. We saved her. All of us. Will she survive? Tom thought about it. The pneumonia could return. The heart damage would limit her. But she had her pride. She had the reins. She had will. Maybe, he said. That's all any of us get. 6 months later. Tom's hands steady on the scalpel. A young cheetah on his table, snare damage to the leg. Fixable. Behind him, Sarah worked the suction. They moved in rhythm, no words needed. Daniel Marcus Brennan, 3 months old, slept in his carrier against Becca's chest, named for the dead and the living both. Through the window, movement on the ridge. Tom looked up. 9 lions. The female in front moved carefully, favoring her left side. But she moved. Behind her, 3 cubs played in the grass. Is that? Becca asked. Her. The lioness stopped. Even at distance, Tom could see the scar. She looked toward the clinic, held his gaze for a moment. Then she turned, leading her pride into the grasslands. Still here, still leading, still teaching the next generation. Tom returned to his work. The cheetah would live. Tomorrow, there would be others. Broken things needing repair. And Tom would be here, hands steady, doing what he could. Sarah hummed while she worked. Margaret's song. Danny would have loved that. Would have loved all of this. The sun set over Kenya. Tom finished his sutures. Perfect technique. The tremor, gone for good, maybe. Or just gone for now. Either way, it was enough. Outside, somewhere in the growing dark, an old lioness taught young cubs to hunt. Both of them scarred. Both of them continuing. Both of them proof that sometimes broken things don't need to be whole.
They just need to keep going. After word spread about the Lioness, people started coming. Not tourists with cameras, but folks carrying their own broken things. A rancher whose dog got caught in wire. A Maasai elder with an orphaned gazelle. Even William sent a letter, though I haven't opened it yet.
Sarah says we're building something here. Not just a clinic, but a place where the hard stories get heard. Where a 70-year-old man can hold his grandson while stitching up wild things. Where Marcus teaches former poachers to track for conservation. Where Jimmy brings his coffee and tells everyone who'll listen about the night the lions came into the barn. That lioness still walks these hills. I see her sometimes at dawn, teaching her cubs patience. We nod to each other across the distance. Two old survivors who learned that healing others is how we heal ourselves. Disclaimer: this is a work of fiction inspired by wildlife conservation stories created solely for entertainment purposes. This story does not condone, encourage, or promote any form of violence or harmful behavior toward animals or humans. All characters and events are products of the author's imagination, and any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental.